that universal law of mind. I know that Spirit has received the direct impress of this collective intention, and that it is already unfolding for the highest and the best of each one of us and all life. We let it be so, and together we affirm, and so it is. The title of my message this morning is I am grateful for the abundant life that I live. And in that consciousness, in the idea of focusing on the things that we are grateful for, I find that as I spend time looking at that idea and just simply turning away from things that are happening that want to grab my attention and things that activate feelings in me of either there's not enough or I'm not enough. That as I focus on something greater, that I actually begin to experience that the answer to all things, the solution to everything, is right here within me. And that when I touch that place within myself, I am touching the unified consciousness of Spirit where we are one. And so it's no accident, and it's amazing that each one of us, since time began, and I don't know, did time ever begin, or is time just something that we become aware of? And I don't mean the clock, but okay, time, series of events. Since time began, every single thing that has been created, everything that is of the manifest physical universe is unique. It's different. It's special. And it creates that synchronicity that you were referring to, Alan. Now, the problem is that we are habituated to focus on the negative. Habituated because we and the world in which we live and the media focuses on that. And while I'm not about throwing the baby out with the bathwater totally, I think babies need some water. I think that the path to an abundant life and to activating more and more and more gratitude comes from where I put my focus. And where I want to put my focus is that I am the presence and the power of God. Now, I like those words, the presence and the power of God, unique and individualized. I like those words following I am a whole lot more than all the variations of I'm not enough. Are you with me? Do we agree upon that? Yes. And so why do we do it? The rhetorical question. So I'm just going to say it's habitual. And that our path and the path of gratitude is one of creating a new habit to the point that there is a tipping point. Now, the first time that I walked in to the Paradise Church of Religious Science, and we sat down and there was this opening song, and it was something like, I was going to read the words to you, but the book didn't come up. Open my eyes that I may see. I knew it. Just take a moment. Just got to take a breath here. Thank you, Dr. Carolyn. Well, any of you that know it, let's say it. Open my eyes that I may see. Fullness of truth thou hast for me. Place in my hands that wonderful key that shall unclasp and set me free. It's a song. I bet Alan knows it. Maybe sometime he'll play it for you. Now, did any of you get chills? Yes. We are free. But we have to choose it. And the problem is that even though there is more than enough food and water and land and love and respect and health and more than enough ways to do things and to solve any seeming problems, the problem is that we don't believe that we're enough. And so, if we don't believe that we're enough, what gets projected out, and absolutely has to get projected out, is there isn't enough. Now, some months ago, Dr. Carolyn showed a video about the way the media brainwashes. Now, I'm not about any kind of conspiracy theories, believe me. But the point of the whole thing was that the more that we believe that there's not enough, the more that we involve ourselves and dip in to that idea and let it lather and slather all over us, truly, the more that we project out to the world that there is not enough. And so we become a part of the story. We become a part of the collective consciousness. We become limited. Not because that's the potential that we are, but because that's what we are choosing to focus on. And so we have to, we get to, we have the opportunity. Our lives depend on it. The quality of our life depends on us putting a stop to this kind of thinking. Now, because it's Thanksgiving, we're focused on gratitude. But I know that in that healing meditation, gratitude is something that is requested all year long. In the Science of Mind glossary, under Thanksgiving, Dr. Holmes writes, when we speak the words of thanksgiving to the God within, knowing before they ask, I will answer. There is nothing in this attitude of thanksgiving There is something in this attitude of thanksgiving that carries us beyond the field of doubt into one of perfect faith and acceptance, receptivity and realization, appreciation, gratitude, and thanksgiving, the motive power which attracts and magnifies the hidden potential of life. Now, when that potential begins to open up in us, it's going to be scary because it's going to be brand new. I mean, think about being an explorer, right? An explorer that goes out into territory that they have never been, situations or circumstances that they have never been. Maybe that's what keeps us stuck. Maybe that's part of the habit, that when we step out of the habit, it feels shaky. I love that analogy about moving out to the edge of the limb of the tree. And when you get out there, you're on the trunk, sturdy, safe, been here before. Climb up and start to move out on the branch. Well, that's okay. But when you go out to the edge, I can only imagine. It's scary as all get out. So what it's about, this idea of being grateful for this wonderful, abundant life that we live, what it's about is being an explorer, right? Now I want to share with you a little story from The Art of Abundance by Denis Merritt Jones. And Denis he's a good friend of mine. And when I first became a minister, the very first conference down in, I'm going to tell you a secret. The very first, he's not listening, very first conference that I went to, minister conference down in Santa Barbara, Denis he started hanging around me and Carolyn and Mac. And so we were having meals together and stuff. And then I went on walks on the beach, and lo and behold, I just ran into him. And I had this crush. Oh my gosh, I was so in love with this guy. Crush, on Denis Merritt Jones. I know. Then his wife came. Anyway, I want to tell you a story about Denis and his wife, Diane. And this was a time before GPS. So Denis and Diane took a trip they flew into the Kona airport, and they were going to visit a friend that lived on the Big Island. His name is Reverend Mark. And so they had never been there before. They were all excited. They got off the plane. They got their rental car. They jumped into the car. And remember, I said this is before GPS. And so they got their map out, and they got all situated and yes, for this 2.5-hour drive, we know where we're going, even though we've never been there before. Well, after 5 hours of driving, after 5 hours of driving and ending up literally at a dead end, Denis writes, "We definitely should have turned left when we turned right." He recounts that it seemed that they were lost somewhere between the ocean, a whole bunch of lava, and a really big jungle. And after 5 hours of driving, the sun began to set. They did have cell phone, but there was no reception. It was beginning to rain, and the tension started to build between Denis and Diane. He says it was thick as they sat in the car and wondered what to do. Well, good for them. They kept their mouth shut most of the time. And pretty soon, Diane said, "Honey, It seems to me that we are at choice here. We need to change our perspective. And right at that moment, because both of them are really into music, a Janice Stanfield song came into their mind. Though we may not know where we are going, we're not lost. We are exploring. The longer that they sat there and sang the verse, which was a prayer, the more that they began to laugh at their situation and lighten up. A shift in perspective was all that it took to change their consciousness into the idea that this was no longer a mistake, this was an adventure that they were on, and they welcomed it. The next thing that they did was that they sat quietly, they spoke out loud a prayer for a shot of divine guidance. And in the spirit of the adventure, they continued exploring the only road that they could find in the darkness. They turned around on the dead end. It was dark by that time. They went down, they turned right. It was the only road that appeared to them. And what they could see down at the end was a light. And so they followed the light to a house, knocked on the door, asked to use the landline phone, found out it was a nudist colony. Got a hold of their friend, Reverend Mark, and he said, "Stay right where you are. I know where you are. I'm on my way to get you." What was that? Yeah. So, there is enough. The lies that we tell ourselves are like a virus that corrupt and reproduce themselves in our consciousness. We know what happens to our computers when a virus happens. It's terrible. It continues to grow until it has covered over all of the truth and the integrity of the operating system. And it takes quite a bit of work to begin to uncover it, to remove it. Now, as I said in the healing meditation, there truly isn't anything to heal. But there is a polishing, there is a cleansing, there is a cleaning, there is a releasing that takes place within us. To come to feel that we are the presence, that we don't have to figure anything out, we don't have to go anywhere, we don't have to make a plan. The plan is already within us. The plan will reveal itself as we become grounded and centered and one with the truth of our being. Is this something that we can do once in a while? No. This is a practice that we are called to do all the time. I love the scripture, John 10:10. The thief comes only to steal and to kill and destroy. What is the thief? Negative thinking, believing in limitation and that there's not enough. That's the thief that is being referred to. And the scripture goes on and says, "But I have come, I am come, so that you may have life and have it more abundantly." It's our choice. What is the life that we want to live. It's already embedded within us. But as human beings, having this experience in life, we must explore. We must be willing to go out on the skinny branches and live in what we can call the wisdom of uncertainty. We must be willing to fall. We must be willing to fail. Because if we keep going down the road that we're going, collectively, failure may be assured. But the truth is, the answer is already here. And the wonderful thing is that the more that we focus on I am enough, the more that we focus on the idea that I am come, that's you. That's each one of you. I am come so that I may have life and have it more abundantly. And in the words of Janice Stanfield, I'm not lost, I'm exploring. If I could look down on this path I walk from somewhere way up high, I could see the crooked road that I have come. I walked a mile with sorrow, I walked a mile with joy. And now I'm less afraid of either one. For every tear I've cried, there's a smile that I have earned. For every mile I walk, there's a lesson I have learned. I'm not lost, I am exploring. Life is an adventure worth enjoying. Though I may not know where I am going, I'm not lost, I'm exploring. Some people choose to live their lives on quiet avenues, while others find a place in the parade. Some, like me, are seekers. We take less traveled roads, believing we can find a better way. And though I get discouraged, I won't be turning back. I have joy as my compass and faith as my map. I'm not lost. I'm exploring, and I am so grateful for this abundant life. And so it is.